So here we are in Capture One, and what we're going to focus on this time, it's the practicality of the changing color of light. We talked about this in the prerequisites, where we talked about the different color temperatures of the sun in the different times of the day. And it's pretty obvious in the capture of the Open Vista image. So I'm just going to scroll through this a little bit for you so that you can see what's happening to the light color. Now, all of these pictures have the Kelvin set at 5500, and we have 0.1 tint, which doesn't really do much at all. So let me just go through these real quick. This is very early when we got there. This is ISO 3200, and I just wanted to capture some of these stars, and you see the mountain range is right here. Right in here is some warm spillage from the car lights that was right next to us. So obviously it's dark as night almost. It's a really dark blue sky, and that's the color temperature of the light. As I'm going to scroll through this real quick, obviously this is a brighter exposure, but the tonality of this is still quite blue. And then as we move ourselves forward, you could just see that it gets warmer and warmer, now into magenta tones. Still not any direct sun hitting the mountains, but we're getting a really warm magenta tone to it. And as I scroll through these and you get our cowboy in here, you can just, exposures are skipping a little bit here, but you can just tell that it's going from cool to warm air and even warmer. So I'm just going to go down a little bit. And now that you see we're getting into the exposures where we're getting sun hitting the top of the mountains, and it's still getting even warmer. And from here on out, when you get into here, you see it's getting a really neutral color on the back mountains. So we're going to pick a few examples just so that you could see these next to each other, where we have the mountain ranges all lined up. Just going to make this a little bit bigger for you. Top left, early morning. On the top right, still early morning, right before the sun has come up. So what is happening in the top right image is essentially that the sun is not quite hitting the landscape, but it's coming up and bounces back down from the atmosphere, and it gives us this really beautiful pink glow. Now this is happening only for a very few minutes right after the sun goes down, or in this case, right before the sun comes up. It's this really beautiful pinkish sort of bounce. It gets more into the yellow tones here in the bottom left, and still obviously warmer, but more yellowish rather than the pink magenta tone. And then on the bottom right, you see the sun is up, hitting the mountains straight on. And even if it's a little bit overexposed in there, you can see that the color is absolutely neutral. So these are the different color tonalities of light. And having an awareness of this is truly important as you set out to create the color tonalities of your photographs. So what you're going to focus on in this part of the tutorial is to retouch the picture in two different color palettes. We're going to take one image in this area and retouch that and create a blue nighttime scene. And then we're going to take different exposures from this time of day, and we're going to create another warmer picture. And you saw in the introduction to this chapter what I've done to prepare for this, where the first image is really blue in tone and the second is really warm. So we're going to dive into the retouch. We've been through Capture One a couple of times now, so I'm not going to do much more than this than to show you the different color. All of these is again set at 5500 Kelvin. And again, I encourage you to do so on your camera so that you can see the light change rather having an auto balance. So when you come and look at your pictures in Capture One, they all look the same. So get a sense of what the light does when it comes to color. Work with that when you take your pictures and set the color tonality that really resonates with you and your style of photography. So that is the message of this. We're going to dive into the retouch and see if you can put these pictures together. I'll see you soon.